Hi everyone, I'm Kat from quickknee.com. Today I'm going to be teaching you about straight stitching and how to improve your accuracy when sewing. A straight stitch is the most common stitch type that you'll ever come across. In fact, there are projects that exclusively use only straight stitches. It's a common misbelief that a straight stitch is purely on a straight line. However, this is not true. Many straight stitches can actually be sewn completely on curves. You can customize your straight stitching by adjusting the length of the stitch. So for example, a smaller stitch length is great for reinforcing the seams. So you'll sew them commonly on areas such as corners or curves, or when you're going to be trimming down to the seam lines. A larger stitch, often called a basting stitch, is ideal for creating gathers and other specialty effects on your fabric. You may also come across patterns where they ask you to temporarily baste your seams in place or your fabric in place, and this is just a temporary stitch that's easy to remove. Sewing a straight stitch is really quite easy. I've put my piece of fabric under my presser foot. As you can see, my machine is already wound and threaded, and you simply just press down on your foot pedal and the machine will stitch. Did you know on many sewing machines you can actually adjust the width of your straight stitch? But how is that possible if it's stitching constantly in the same place? Well, this allows you to move your needle position left and right, which is a great way to make top and edge stitching a lot easier. I'll show you how to do this now. So if I select that on my machine and now watch the actual needle itself just here, and you'll notice that it will jump left and right based on what setting I use. So this is great for helping you get closer to certain stitching lines to create edge stitching and top stitching. It allows you to easily line up your previous stitching or marking to the edge of your presser foot or to your 5/8 inch seam guide, which would be somewhere around here. So I just want to show you the difference between the different widths and lengths of sewing machine stitches. This here is my standard sewing machine length, which is, I believe, 2.8 millimeters. This line here is a 5 millimeter length. Now it might be quite hard to see on the video, and I will try and get a photo of this to put in as well, but this line here, the stitches between them are much larger. And if the footage is actually good enough, you'll probably also can tell that my tension on my stitches is off. I haven't adjusted my machine recently, so I need to go back and actually fix this from a previous project that I was working on with much thicker fabric. So please ignore the tension issue for the moment. Now, this line here is, or these two outer sections, I should say, are where I played around with the different width settings on my sewing machine. So if you remember how I said that changing the widths can also change the needle position on many modern sewing machines, allowing you to make it easier to top stitch. So this is the standard center top stitching lines, and I've just butted the edge of my presser foot right up against the edge of one of the lines to sew the secondary stitching. I've done the same for this one here, but you'll notice that the two lines are much closer together, and that's because I've reduced the width of my needle position to be closer. So this was, I think, 0.1 millimeter or 1 millimeter, which just basically moved my needle position all the way to the left in order to sew these two lines together. And the same for the other one here. I had a 7 millimeter, not a 0.7 stitch width, which moved my that moved my needle all the way to the right, and I got a much larger gap. So this, adjusting your needle position, is a great way to edge stitch or top stitch a particular piece much more easily than trying to actually adjust the fabric, particularly when you're sewing across a number of bulky layers or a number of layers that have uneven bulk, which may cause the actual fabric to shift a little bit back and forth as sewing. So this is a great alternative, and many modern sewing machines can do it, and some even older sewing machines can do it. So definitely test your machine to see if that is possible to do, and enjoy sewing. Just a quick reminder that quickknee.com is hosting a Craftsy class giveaway. It takes about 30 seconds to register, and you get to, if you are the winner, you get to pick any class that you want. It doesn't even have to be in the sewing category, and that can easily be up to $70 worth of value. So for 30 seconds of your time, don't you think it's worth just signing up for that giveaway? So if you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you have any comments, feel free just to leave them below. And if you're new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button, because we release new videos regularly that are great fun for beginners and advanced sewers alike.